So this is Alice Potts. She's a fashion designer and material innovator and biofabrication designer, which means she innovates materials to be used in fashion that are made of sustainable materials like food waste and are biodegradable. And she's interested in the idea of a second skin, which is why she chose fashion to explore biomaterials. Because clothes are the only things that you wear instinctively, you can't avoid them, unlike other accessories that you might have to make more of a conscious choice to wear. So for her, the true path to a second skin is through fashion. So she is a graduate. She graduated in 2018 from the Royal College of Art with a master's in women's wear fashion. And this year she's shown in Athens, in London, and in the Philadelphia Museum in the US. And she was going to be in Australia this year doing a materials development residency at the National Gallery in Melbourne, but this was interrupted by COVID. But this was going to be based on her degree show for her MA, which was called Perspire. This project really launched her career, and it's a showcase of a technique she had developed to turn human sweat into crystals. And for this show, she worked with 3 ballerinas from London Ballet School to produce these pairs of ballet shoes, which she then coloured with natural dyes that she developed herself, made from red cabbage. They came out in different colours because each individual has a unique sweat composition, which is influenced by their gender, physical health, genetics, and factors like that. And the collection explores the relationship between femininity and traditionally masculine behaviours of hard labour. For her, the extreme labour involved in ballet is under-acknowledged because of its association with femininity, which, much like a lot of the labours women engage in, is underplayed because of its association with women. The collaboration with the National Gallery in Melbourne was going to be based on this collection. It was going to involve some women's football or soccer teams, because women's football has become really popular in Australia in the last couple of years, and it's bringing up interesting tensions around the definitions of feminine behaviour as well. So here are some other examples of crystals that she's made from wearers' sweat. There's some heels as well. So during the pandemic, she also did a jewelry collaboration, and she used seaweed to make these kinds of beads and petals that was made into the collection. And one of her things is that a lot of sustainable materials are often beige and therefore unappealing. So in order to mainstream biomaterials, she really focuses on color and texture to give them that kind of tactility and appeal that actually makes people want to interact with them. So she's put a lot of work into figuring out how to make natural dyes in her kitchen by herself, which has become really important in her next project, which is what has been showing in Athens and in Philadelphia and in London, which is a collection of biodegradable face shields, which was motivated by the lack of PPE that we had in Britain at the beginning of the pandemic. And also the return of single-use plastic that came with single-use face masks. So she's created this recipe for face shields that you can make at home. And yeah, you can see they have a really beautiful quality to them in their texture and their color. And they're not medical grade, but they do fine for everyday interactions for people that are not on the front line. And she has a great appreciation for actual plastic as a scientific material that's helped us with surgery and moon landings and things, but she believes it shouldn't be in circulation in the general economy the way it is at the moment, especially when there are biomaterials being developed that can be part of the solution to that. And something I think that's really interesting about her approach is that she believes in open source or open access information, which means that she uploads her research data to the internet for anyone to use. So like I said, you can actually look up how to make these face masks from your own food waste in your own kitchen. And this is kind of part of her attitude towards sitting outside capitalist systems of intellectual property that are often quite stifling for artists and scientists and anyone who's really looking to build on the work of the people that came before them, which is really all of us. So here are some other examples of the bioplastics that she's developing. You can see that they really have a unique, I don't know, a unique quality to them that you don't get in a lot of other materials. And I think that they're really beautiful. And then finally, her current project is in collaboration with another fashion student called Matthew Needham, and it's called Tearing, and they're working to turn tears into crystals. And the idea is to show the beauty of the body's response to the environment, and also to preserve emotional experiences in a new way. And it's quite a new project, so there isn't much information out there about it, but generally, I think her approach to the way our bodies and our world interact with the things we wear and use is really inspired and future-oriented in a way that I think is quite unusual to come across. So yeah, that's my presentation. I'll put her details in the chat. If anyone's got any questions, I'm here to answer.
I'll go. The stuff is amazing. It's absolutely beautiful. Now I know why your question came. But the work is absolutely amazing. So I have a question for you. What is your craft or your creative practice or your art? What is yours, Anna?
I'm an illustrator, but I'm really at the beginning of my practice. I'm nowhere near as developed as a lot of other people on this course. And I think that this is an avenue that I'd really like. I've just finished my degree actually, so now I've got a little bit more intellectual space to follow up this. And I'm so interested in your work because I'm so interested in biomaterials and in textiles. So I really love fashion as well. So that's where I'm hoping to take it, but I don't know what the specifics are at the moment.
Okay, so you're an illustrator and you're really trying to figure out how to further your work at this time, though. Yeah, because you're so passionate about it. That's why I'm asking. Because, when you preview someone else as well, it's because you have to see yourself in them in some way, and there's some model about them that you see how you further your own practice as well, too, when you present someone else as well too. So really think about it. I say that because illustrators are such a gem to have, because there's so many industries that you can move across with your work, from someone meeting a person who did, illustrates patterns, as well too. And are you familiar with ADIFF? It's ADIFF. Angela Luna is the CEO. And she just did an open source fashion cookbook during the pandemic. So she's been about sustainability and biodegradable products since she launched her company straight out of Parsons. But you should look her up as well, too. And then if you want to get in contact with her, please let me know. And you can actually talk to her as well, too, because the company has done it very, very well. But during the pandemic, they created that cookbook in order to put the power back into the consumer to be able to use sustainable products and things around them, recycling things in order to create their own clothing as well. So that may be someone, again, for a model for you as you start to explore.
That's amazing. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
I'll put her email in the chat to you directly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Yeah, really, really fascinating. It's so great to see sustainable and biodegradable things that are so beautiful, because we don't usually associate the two. Is sustainability and the environment and climate something that you are thinking of incorporating into your work? I know you said you're just starting out, but I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons why you focused on this case study.
I mean, definitely. I think it's because it's future facing, really. And I think if we're being honest with ourselves, if our practices are genuinely going to be future facing, then they need to take that element of the future into account. So that's what I really love about her work, is that it's not a kind of constructed future that flying cars and that sort of thing, the kind of idea of the future that is now a past idea of the future, if you know what I mean. Like, she's really dealing with the future as in what we're going to do tomorrow, like where we can take this tomorrow. And I think that's such a an unusual, like, she doesn't have an end goal in what she's doing. She's literally just taking the next step, like doing the next best thing every time. And it allows such a freedom to her practice. And I think a natural way of developing crafts, because I think that's probably how most things kind of in the past were developed, is just through a day-to-day trial and error response to your environment. And so, I mean, yeah, definitely environmentalism is a cool part of my ideology.